guys, welcome back to another episode of Making It with Marcus and Marianna. I'm Marianna.
And I'm Marcus.
I'm super excited for today's episode. I hope you are, babe.
Very, very excited.
Well, some of you guys should know about us. We work 25/8. And I mean, like, around the clock, we kind of don't stop. Even on weekends, there's still things that need to be done. I'm sure a lot of you can understand that. So yeah, we don't get much free time. We got to take advantage of it.
Yep. It's the constant challenge of maintaining a healthy work-life balance, even to the point of not getting time, free time to just hang out and do stuff that we want to do. I even share time with my dog. My dog spends half her time during the week with my mom, sometimes at daycare overnight. Her name is Kona. She's 3 years old. She's a German Shepherd, Husky, and a Belgian Malinois. You guys might get a few peeps at her. Look at Kona, say hi to the camera. She's focused on me because she actually just came back from my mom's house after being away for 4 days straight. So she's right here at my footsteps, and she will be for the next few days.
Yeah, and then at night she shares my side of the bed because she knows I'm smaller, so she likes to take up the leg space,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm not a fan of it. But it's okay. It's only for a few nights, so she can have her time. But yeah, it can definitely be very difficult, and I know. Even this upcoming weekend, we got a group text today from his grandma, and it's she's really cute because she's Irish, and of course St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys see this, it'll be a past. But we have St. Patrick's Day dinner, which it's my first time going to it. I'm excited. I didn't know what we were gonna eat.
Yeah, I've been growing up with my grandmother in the house cooking St. Patrick's Day dinner for 26 years. I mean, she's constantly got the corned beef and cabbage ready to go. I'm excited for it. It's kind of something that reminds me of growing up as a kid, and still being able to have my grandmother around to do it and want to do it. It's it's a nice feeling, and I'm excited for you to join and see it for your first time.
The Irish in me is excited.
Yeah.
So it should be fun.
My family goes all out for holidays, and this is St. Patrick's Day is one where as soon as we walk into the house, they're going to be expecting us to wear green. So we have to figure something out because
I have green.
I don't got green.
I have green.
I mean, I might have a pair of green pants somewhere in the closet that I've maybe never worn yet.
I'm all set. I have green.
All right, good. You already know they're going to be coming at you.
Kona.
Kona is ready. Kona does not have a green outfit, so she's going to be. You're screwed, unfortunately. Yeah, we have a lot of things planned coming up, mostly work-wise and stuff, but we still try to fit in, our little free time things that we can do, try to get a date in here and there. We got lucky last week, I got tickets through work to go see Dune 2, so, the movie theater's right next to my office. Right after work, she just came over and,
It was a 20-minute drive, but that's LA time, guys.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. That was a short drive for us, but no, it was nice. We were able to even after a long day of work, just have a couple hours where we were able to sit and chill, watch a movie, and it ended up being really good. I really loved it.
Yeah, Marcus didn't really watch the first one fully out. I did. I didn't like it. I know a lot of... I really could care less.
I mean, I fell asleep during it.
Yeah,
so.
I thought it was a bunch of sand dunes, and I get it. I understand you probably have to read the book to get, a lot more about it. But for me, I'm not going to do that.
No,
I listen to an audiobook all day long, but I can't. I
know it's a little bit different. I feel though, because it's almost like a not comic book, but it's super sci-fi fiction. So it'd be a tough book. That's not my style of book to read. That's for sure.
I mean, I could read it because there's definitely romance in there. I just didn't like the way. I won't give any spoilers away because some people haven't seen it yet. But I just didn't like the way some things played out in it. That's all I'll say.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, I could, back in high school, I'd probably be able to read that. Nowadays, I have, like we said, so many things going on in life. Currently working on a show that I have to know so many things about, so many court things. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think that there's something in, being able to manage, what we do. And even this, getting to be able to rehearse for this podcast is very hard.
It's tough, yeah.
It's okay, one day we have an outline made, and then the next day we're okay, well, we got all these other things to do, and it's 2 days before, and we're okay, let's figure this out.
Exactly, and I mean, we both get home late after work, and
It's what,
Yeah,
home
it's
at like 6. I'm home
home
like
at
5,
6, and we're sitting in
30-ish.
an hour of traffic. We're both sitting in an hour of traffic every day. So when we get home, like it's hard to find that like oomph to like want to get ready to like, all right, let's jump in it. Because we have podcast stuff to do. And of course, we find a way and we make it work, because I think the two of us is kind of how we like. This is kind of how we rock. So like we're able to like influence each other and to like get into that mode of work. Even when I'm sluggish, she gets me going. And maybe the other way around sometimes.
Yeah, or we'll literally be in the car on the way home on the phone talking
Yeah.
about like what we need to do, our game plan, even though we're about to see each other. But like that hour is so crucial. Mm-hmm. It's just if we didn't talk on the phone, it's like, okay, well, we get home and then it's like there's so many things we still have to do.
Yeah,
that
it's like
time
starting fresh.
is planning it out, or hey, we don't have groceries, so I'm on my home. I'll be there first. Stop at the store first, and then from there it's get home, cook dinner, and whatever else follows. Because sometimes there's even like for me, there's after work. I have to sometimes I send out an email or I have to check it or do things, and I know you
for
do
me,
too.
I don't necessarily have to take it home as much, but there's definitely times like for me, and I'm kind of just like with my job, it's always on my mind, even when I'm off. So like sometimes I'll just jump on my laptop and do a little something that I got to do, even if I'm not getting paid for it, but it's gonna help me next week when I go back into work, and I'm like, all right, that's already done, so I'm good.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. For me, it can go over the weekend. Like right now, the show I'm working on, we shoot tomorrow. I don't have to be there physically on set, but we'll be shooting tomorrow. So it's something like I have to think about, like, oh, check my email or just make sure that like the actors get there. And there's certain things that go into play. And then it's like on top of that, we also have personal things planned. So like, I mean, the weekends are usually, if we don't have something scheduled, it's doing, errands and cleaning up and dropping clothes off at the dry cleaners that we do, or really trying to see family, especially Marcus's family. We try to go every Sunday at least. And my dad comes to town every other week, so I get to see him, and I really try to space out those Sundays to just, give that fun space and that time and enjoy ourselves, because it's needed.
And we try to, I mean, it's not like it's just us or we go see the family. We try to, our friends are around, and they're also kind of, everybody else is on busy schedules the same way as we are. So it's, tough to mix our friends in there, especially for me. I got my close knit group of boys, and, sometimes we just don't get to see each other as often. I know I just work a crazier schedule than they're used to, or, they're not in production. So it's kind of a little bit tougher to understand necessarily why like a 12-hour shift is like a normal thing for people, and why a 14-hour shoot day is like a normal thing.
I think Kona farted.
Oh, she totally did.
Oh my god. Kona farted. I just need the world to know that a dog fart is rancid, because sometimes she'll fart and she'll walk away herself.
And she just stares at us.
Like I just did that.
And she's proud of herself.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go back. I'm talking about the boys. The boys and you don't get to see each other.
Yeah, the boys, we don't get to see each other as much as we want to sometimes, but it's all good. Actually, I might be seeing them this weekend, so we got that plan, and it's on the books.
It's not on the calendar, though, so.
Yeah, we do have an official calendar that we try to update like as we go daily, as things come through. I have not yet put it in, but boys, you'll be on the calendar, I promise.
Okay. Yeah, Marcus is really bad at putting things on the calendar and then remembering the things that are on the calendar.
That's facts.
But
I'd be taking pictures every day.
It's okay. The calendar doesn't change, so I don't know why you need to continue to take pictures, but it's the same calendar, and that's that. It starts in the beginning of the month, everything is planned out, and if not, it just comes out and then we add it in.
True.
But
It'd be changing, though.
We talk about it before it changes.
All right.
Fair. I'm not just going to make a plan. Well, that's not true.
That's not true. You're the queen of making a plan, and then afterwards being like, Marcus, guess what's happening in 2 weeks on this day? And guess who's staying over for this many days?
Hey, that's not fair.
I'm just kidding.
Because that's only happened. That never happened.
It has not happened.
That has not happened. That is. Don't be fooled, guys. You got to talk to your partner before anything or anyone comes and stays with you. I know that, but I'm also used to living alone. So like that's
true.
That's different. I've lived alone before Marcus and I got together. 5 years by myself, and then I'm also the only girl out of 4 brothers. So I've always had my own room.
You're used to having your space and it being the way that you make it.
Heck yeah, can't you see this purple here, guys? I did that. I used to have a purple couch, and then Marcus,
This is how I've made it. This is my compromise, my settlement that I dealt with.
a purple
And
couch cover.
honestly, it's not that bad. It's a
He
pretty,
picked the
it's a nice
color.
color of purple.
No, you
I
picked
picked
it.
it out. Yep, Santee Alley. You know,
Shout out.
shout out Santee Alley. Hooked it up.
No, yeah, but living alone was definitely, I highly recommend for anyone who can afford it, and who has like that independence on their own type like situation, or just doesn't have the vibe with somebody else. I highly recommend it. It was probably one of the best things ever, in my younger like ages for sure. Not that I'm old, but
It's funny. For a long time, I thought the same thing. For a long time, I really wanted to kind of live on my own. Like when I was living with my family, I was like,
yeah, but you kept
all right.
saying that, but
I did. I said it for a long time that I just want to move into like a studio apartment, a one bedroom by myself, and it never happened. But we ended up moving in together. This is like my first time moving out.
and it was funny because when we were friends, we would talk about like getting a place. I'd be like, oh yeah, you'd be like one of the only people I could probably live
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
But then, like, what if you have a girl over? I'd be like, what if you have a guy over? And like, no. And I was like, and it's funny because now it's like after, I don't know, how many months was it?
Gosh, like 7 months, I want to say. Like October to June, I think we moved in.
July.
July. So yeah,
July
like 7, 8
1st.
months.
So yeah,
Maybe more, jeez.
after dating, we moved in together. So I mean, but then again, that might not always work for everybody.
Yeah, some people would say it's a little bit early, and crossed my mind slightly that it was a little bit early, but I didn't necessarily have like the worries that other people may have because we know each other so well, and like you said, we already talked about like you were the person that I could see myself moving in with if I wanted to just move out when I did.
As friends too, and I think that's
Yeah.
And also when I had my own place, like Marcus was there every day, so that was like he saw how I lived, and then there was even times where like, I would always tell people, there's no parents here. You are your parent. You clean up after yourself. Do everything yourself. Like, and I had house rules, like follow these rules, and you're good to stay. Come and go. And Marcus did, and I just remember there was like this one time something spilled, or I don't know what it was, and I was like, "Aren't you gonna clean it up?" He's like, "I was waiting for you to tell me how," and I was like, "Touche."
It's funny because I kind of remember
I was
that.
like, "Touche,"
Yeah.
because I am also very particular. Anyone who's ever
About
met me,
everything, whatever the spray that you use when you clean something up, better be the right type of spray.
yeah. Well, it's why sprays have names. They have certain chemicals that do certain things. Like it's just that.
I swear they're all just different colors.
Yeah, no. So now he knows. Like he's kind of got all the sprays down after almost a year of living together.
Oh, yeah.
But I
I'm
do
getting it
know
right.
that before we even moved in together, I definitely had not doubts, just my concerns because of living by myself for so long and having everything my own and my own say, and like I'm a very outspoken person, and I know that like when we moved in together, before we moved in together, that I didn't have like necessarily doubts. I would just say I had concerns because I lived by myself for so long, and this was the last time I would have my own space, and of course I was like not to say the one who like, I mean, I feel like we came up with it together in a sense. Like I had to find a place to live, and the next couple months my lease was up, and I was living in the studio apartment that wasn't really a studio. It didn't have a kitchen or anything, so I had to make my own kitchen. But I did it, and I did it for a year. So,
Yeah.
and Marcus witnessed that.
A straight cubicle.
Yeah, we called it my cubicle. So, but
It was a good experience for you.
No, it was. I had my own space. I went for my own house, and then I went into a tiny cubicle of an apartment, and it wasn't really the safest place either. So it was time for that lease to come up, and I just know that like we were kind of on the same page with like, okay, well, I have to get a whole nother year somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be mine,
And I was
we can make it
itching
together.
to move out. I
Yeah.
had been itching to move out for years, and it seemed like at the time it seemed like a little bit of a risk, and it kind of scary for us as a couple. We're not even a year in
Yeah.
for us to just move in together. So sure, it was a little bit scary, but at the same time it just felt right because I know you so well, you know me so well, and we're in love at that point. And
Yeah. And I also know that, like, one of the other concerns was, like, we're in and out of jobs so much that you knew
Yeah.
that your job would be ending soon. The show you were on was going to end. but then again, it ended a little sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So there were all these like kind of precautions around it that was just like, we are ready for this in a relationship point, but is like our actual lifestyle ready for this?
Yeah.
And we were, I came to terms with not having my own space. I got rid of most of the purple, and we compromised with a little couch cover instead of my purple couch that I used to have.
Yeah, I mean, and especially like, I think we may have mentioned it before, but like, I have Kona and she has 2 cats. So even though they were like, good friends and they've met each other and, they've been around each other, living together is a whole different beast. And so it was,
yeah.
There's a lot of variables into it. And I think it was just, all in all, ended up being like a great decision for us. And I think something that we didn't even necessarily know that we needed. And again, it gave us a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, it gave us a push in our lives, big time. And for you, for me, I was by myself. Marcus lived with his family, so that was a big thing. You had people around you constantly, and I didn't have really anyone other than my friends around me. And I know that like really kind of took a toll on, your life at times where it was just like you didn't have people around you, so you were, bored or sitting at home. And there was times where I was like, okay, but I made it very clear at first. I was like, I'm gonna need my space in the nicest way. Like, we have a 2-bedroom, so the other bedroom has like all my purple stuff in it, my old bed set, and it's a guest room. But all my like creative stuff, and I like to create a lot, and his stuff is in there too. It's like kind of like a storage creative space. But we also know that like that was something that I would need moving in together, and I didn't want to offend him either by being like, I love you so much, but at the same time I can't be around you 24/7.
Big time. And I think at the beginning, like, I totally didn't necessarily understand where you were coming from with that. Like, I maybe took it like, oh, like, you want to live together, but like you don't want to fully be like together. Like,
he was like, are you gonna be? He was like, you're gonna be sleeping. Like, he kind of first, the worst thoughts came, and I was like, you're gonna be taking time and sleeping in the other room. And I was like, wait, I never once said that. Like, that's not gonna happen. I just meant like, like, I might just want to go in that room and like sit and color, I might want to, which I haven't really even done. Like, I do it all here on the couch.
Yeah, it actually has not happened
But
yet.
I'll sit and be quiet and like do my thing. And he knows that when I'm sitting on the couch next to him and I'm just quiet, do my thing, it's not like I'm ignoring you. I'm just like, I had a whole day at work. We talk throughout the day and we're together all the time.
Yeah.
So there is like a need for that space. And I think it's really important that if you know yourself well enough and your partner knows you, that they'll understand that. And really any relationship, like in family, like you just got to separate yourself sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I, like you said, I came from living with my family, and they were always there. Like, my grandparents are usually always at the house, so whenever I would be bored or whatever, I would just go sit on the couch next to my grandpa, and he's like my best friend, so we just sit there for hours watching football, basketball, whatever it was, just talking shit. So that always filled up my time, and I was like never bored at home or anything. So yeah, definitely when, I come home from work and maybe I'm by myself or whatever, I'm like, dang, kind of bored and waiting for you to come home. Then you come home and it's, you want your space. And it is what it is. It's not a bad thing at all. And I totally understand it. And I think it helps us as a couple. Like, it definitely helps us as a couple for you to have your space, me to have mine, and we just do our own thing. Sometimes we just do our own thing together, like you said.
Yeah. And then it's also important to make sure, like you were saying, you don't always have time for the boys, but I'll make girl dinner dates, or like me and my best friend and big sis will like go have girl nights or theme nights, whatever we're doing, and I'll go away and I'll be out for the night, and then I'll come home and I'll be like, all right, cool, like, we had fun. Or we'll make sure to plan it on the same night so he's out, or if I'm doing something. If I'm like, oh, I'm planning this, okay, cool. He knows to plan it with the boys, and we're kind of in sync in that way, and it's like we both get like that, our friends and then each other, so we're not like lacking that at all.
Yeah, and I think if anything, like, I've missed out on a couple of weekends for good reasoning. I've traveled for work a few times and stuff, so like some of those moments that I couldn't have, like hanging out with friends or us just to go on dates and stuff, are for a good reason. Like, we're working. That's the only reason we're feeling about all of the rest of our time.
No, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think it's also important for our viewers to know, though, like, what you do for work, because obviously, like, you work for the NFL, and there's a lot of the times people ask me, they're like, oh, what does Marcus do? And I'm like, oh, production coordinator, and there's so many different types, and you do so many different things, so I think it's really important that, people know.
No, totally. I mean, I guess the best way for me to lay it out is handling logistics for, the shoots that we have going on. I work on the documentary and features team, and we do a lot of features on players and, some of the foundations that they work on. Maybe it's family members or young children that are huge fans of them. And it can even be, cultural events that are happening, and we find a tie to football somewhere along the lines. And, I work closely with the producers and the DPs of the shoots. I book crews, sometimes help with traveling, tracking budgets for the shoots. That's always a hard one because, you only get a certain amount to do some extravagant things. And, people always have a really good eye. Our producers have great eyes, and, they have big visions. And sometimes those big visions, it's hard to make them come true with a certain amount of money and stuff like that.
How do you wrangle them back in with their crazy visions to fit the budget?
Truly, truly, you just kind of have to find loopholes. And I think one thing that we talked about in our last episode was our connections and our networking and stuff like that. So, being with the NFL, sure, may not be all my connections, but the NFL has a good rapport with a lot of rental houses and spaces where we can go and shoot if we have to rent a space to go shoot, or crews all around the country that will give us. Sometimes they'll give us discounts, or sometimes they'll, just hook it up this time, and next time we help them out a little bit. And so you kind of just find ways throughout the process of, saving money and putting money in other places, allocating it the best way. That's kind of how I would go about it. And it, usually we do pretty well, and, we have a good track record. We do some amazing work. We have Emmy nominated producers and, so many team members on our squad, and it's been awesome. It's really cool to learn from them and see everybody work in their space.
That's awesome. I mean, I know that's something that I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to someone we used to work with. We used to work at Dr. Phil, and I'll just throw that out there because we talk about shows we worked on. And someone we used to work with on that show, he was talking about how is Marcus doing? And I was like, oh, he's like really good. And he's like, where is he at? And I told him we were at the NFL, and he's like, oh man, I remember when he was back at Dr. Phil as a runner and he wanted to work in sports. And I was like, yeah, he's doing it now. So that's like, I don't know how long ago. That was like probably like,
oh man, now?
7 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So even for like people just to remember that and like that's where you're at now, I think that's such a amazing accomplishment. And I mean, I'm proud of you, and I know that so many people are proud of you for that. And it's just something that to get to the next level. And I even know, like, I mean, I get the NFL perks too, only through Marcus. But like,
right.
I know, like, you got to go to the combine, and like that's something that's really cool that a lot of people don't get to like even see, or a lot of people who may not know what football, like a lot about football, like that's before you even get into the NFL. People have to go through that, so you got to like meet so many athletes that are up and coming that if you're a college football fan, you know exactly who they are. If you're in the NFL fan, they're like, oh my God, this person's coming up. I want them to be on my team. So like you got to like really be in that. And how did that like feel for you?
It was truly like one of those experiences where I got lucky enough to be able to stand on the field and like watch these guys go through their workouts and stuff. And I felt like a child. I felt like my 10-year-old self watching the combine for the first time. And I just couldn't believe like actually being there in that position. And so like it made me doing work and like the passion I felt towards my work so much bigger. Like I wanted it to be the smoothest, most well done combine. I wanted all of their videos to be as best as possible, and I wanted to do whatever it took for me to make that happen. I was so willing to do it because it was like I finally am at that point where it's like I dreamed of being in the NFL when I was a kid. And when my football career ended, I thought, oh God, okay, but I'll never get into like professional sports. And it turns out like I'm still in the NFL technically, just in a different way, shape, or form. And it's a good feeling. And that was like such an awesome experience for me to really like meet some of these young kids that are about to see their lives change like in a matter of weeks, and seeing some of the enthusiasm on some of them, was really humbling and shows like the work that we do actually matters, and they appreciate it a lot. It was really cool.
Who was your favorite person that you met?
Oh man, I think it was really cool to meet Caleb Williams just because there's so much hype around him. He was the quarterback for USC and projected #1 pick. So it was definitely cool to see him and like interact with him a little bit. But yeah, we unfortunately have to keep it as professional as possible. But definitely the little kid inside of me wanted to, really like talk to these guys and like, get, be personal with them a little bit. But no, you still have to keep a professional face on. And, at the end of the day, you're at work, and as great as an experience as it is, my purpose for being there was bigger than that. And, I was very happy with how it turned out.
That's amazing. I love that.
Thank you. It was something I'm proud of.
Hey there, marvelous movers and shakers, tuning in to Making It with Marcus and Marianna. Are you ready to be a badass in a career that brings you pleasure? I'm Madison, dear friends of your new favorite podcast hosts and friendly neighborhood pleasure positive podcast host. And holy F, I've got something mind-blowing for you. Brace yourselves, because your career is about to get a pleasure-filled upgrade. If you're ready to level up your career game and reconnect with your inner badass, you're in for a treat. Picture this, a 21-day self-worth reset course designed to unleash your inherent power, brought to you by the Pleasure Positive Podcast. We've curated the best exercises and pleasure practices for self-worth from over 300 episodes of our top-rated sexuality podcast. And trust me, this is a game changer. Every day, you'll have access to guided audio prompts, journal prompts, custom meditations, basically all the secret sauce that has turned our Pleasure Positive Podcast into a must-listen phenomenon. But wait, there's more. Dive into our private Facebook group. It's like the Hogwarts of self-love, full of support and connection to empower you through the 21 days. Now here's the kicker. This transformative journey is normally valued at $37, but it's on the house for you extraordinary listeners of Making It with Mar. Yeah, you heard it right, free. So if you're ready to treat yourself like the VIP you are, reclaim your essence, and kickstart an extraordinary career, sprint over to pleasurepositiveliving.com/makingitwithmar to snatch up your free gift. Your self-worth is like a rare gem. Precious, undeniable, and definitely worth flaunting. Don't wait. Take the first steps towards the career of your dreams. Visit pleasurepositiveliving.com/makingitwithmar now and let the magic begin. Disclaimer, this offer is as wild as a unicorn ride with limited time and quirky conditions. Check the website for all the delightful details. Once again, that's pleasurepositiveliving.com/makingitwithmar. pleasurepositiveliving.com/makingitwithmar.
So now that I've kind of given like a background about what a production coordinator in NFL media does, let me know, what does an AP in the realm of court TV do?
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, an AP stands for an associate producer. And actually it's funny because I didn't start in court TV. I started on Dr. Phil as a talent coordinator, and that was like, working with guests. And then I was there for so long that I was like, man, I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do next. And I was like, I like what the AP does. They call these people and they get them on the show. And an associate producer for a lot of shows can be similar. So like I did associate producing for casting. That's actually more outreach. So I would go on social medias and I would outreach to people. I did the show Lingo and Passwords. Shout out Kiki Palmer on Passwords. Love her. But so it's calling people. It really is. It's being a people person. And, like I talked about last time with networking, it's a lot of networking. You're trying to, you're online. So you're trying to get these people to trust you. Even with now doing court TV, when you see like Hot Bench, I worked on that show. I worked on Tribunal, which is on Amazon. And I'm working on another court show right now that it's, season 1, we're in we're in production for it, but, we're working on it. So that type of television is real people, they're real lives. And I think I said that one time, I was like, real people, real cases, real claims. And someone was like, wow, did they tell you to say that? That's just like from the commercial. And I was like, no, that's real, because I am truly dealing with real people and their issues. And, litigants, we call them. So, well,
And
they are litigants.
I have a question: is how do you find these people? Do you go out searching for them, or do they kind of fall into your lap somehow?
So for court TV, it's real claims, like I said. So we have a legal department. That legal department goes and gets these claims. We end up with them on our desk. And I explain this to every single person that I talk to, because, you have to get them to trust you. So I'll literally just be like, hey, I get all these claims on my desk. Your random claim, I literally have no clue who you are, what, when, where, why. I just have an opportunity for you. If you're interested in it, you can bring your case to our show. And a lot of the times people are super hesitant. I'll be like, hey, you can check me up on LinkedIn. You can check the show. Like, we are who we say we are. And I'll send them like a letter in the mail just confirming. And then if they say yes, we get their defendant to come on. If their defendant is willing to come on and they both are, then great, we have a show. On top of that, I've become like a little mini, like, paralegal, we'll say. Yeah. And I collect their evidence and I make sure it's all accurate. It's also really important to check for fake cases. There is like a crazy amount of fake cases that go on. People love to go on court TV shows and just be like, well, I have this and I just want to sue my friend. Like, if I were to sue you and we're, I took your dog. I took Kona from us. And you don't get to see Kona. So you go on and you're like suing. And I'm sure there's tons of Judge Judy episodes out there of people and their dogs.
Totally.
And so it really is. It's about knowing what's true, what's not true, working with these people, being open with them. You're a lot of the times you're traveling them. You're getting them to and from a location. So you want to be on top of it at all times. As an associate producer, there's depending on the job, you could be called at any time.
Sure.
You could literally get a call and they'll be like, hey, it's 6 a.m. in my flight. Okay, cool. I got to be up at 6 a.m. So they get on their flight. I mean, you've been a witness to it.
Yeah,
I set my alarms. I'll have 4 o'clock, 5:15, because they're also on East Coast time and I'm on West Coast time, but they got to get on their flight and they got to get here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that goes into it beforehand. And then when they show up, it's really just let the judges do their thing. Like, I have no say in what is to happen during this case. That's the real judges, and they go and they deliberate and they do their thing. And it's honestly, I've learned so much working in court, like
That's
an immense
awesome.
amount.
Yeah, it seems almost like ours is a little bit similar, where we do a lot of prep and getting the talent, or for my case, it's getting the shoot really tied together. So when it comes time for that day, the DP, the audio crew, everybody knows exactly what they have to be doing and what the schedule is, all that. In yours, it kind of seems almost similar in a sense of, making sure the talent shows up and they have the wardrobe and all that type of stuff ready.
Mm-hmm. I went from working with the talent when they got to stage on Dr. Phil. Now I'm working with the talent before they even think about coming to the show and getting them there. But yeah, it's a journey. And now I'm working on a show that's kind of partially scripted, so I get to work with real actors. And that's fun because I'm feeding them information. It's like, I keep telling my boss, I'm like, it's like English class. I have to know all this and then I have to regurgitate it to them in ways that they can understand it.
Sure.
And then the ways that they can go and take it in front of our directors and in front of the cameras. And so that's really fun for me, is getting to learn these different types of shows and, really getting to the next level. So I take what I learned there and I bring it here.
Exactly. Yeah. Very cool. I think right now, both of us are in really good positions to just keep learning and growing in our careers. I love when I have to travel and, I get to see a lot of the higher up people that I work with, in action and seeing what they do and how they operate in time. And like, you get to go sit in the booth and you get to watch your producer like making calls and you see everybody, in their place. And I think that's so cool for us to like feed off of their energy, and then we can bring it home to each other and share these experiences that we had with each other and feed off of each other with that. And, it just helps us flourish. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's one fun thing is to come home and be like, how was your day? And Marcus is like, oh, I met so-and-so, or I got to talk to so-and-so, because he talks to people that are like actually out in the field sometimes, like an announcer. And like, for me, it's like, this crazy case happened and so-and-so, or I'm on the studio lot and I'm like, oh, hey, there was this so-and-so celebrity working on this show over here. And it was like, I got to see them for like a second because I work, and it's actually really not a populated lot, but I've seen like
Who was it that you saw walking their
Waka
dog?
Flocka.
You saw Waka Flocka walking the dog.
No, we were walking a dog, and I saw Waka Flocka. I don't know what Waka Flocka was doing, but he was there, and it was me and my producer, and we were walking, and my producer had his dog, and like this group of people just came out of a studio, and I was just like, this is a posse. There's this one person in this posse. Who's it gonna be? And I'm just like, kind of like, I'm always professional, like on the lot specifically. But I'm super professional, and I'm just like, okay, cool, keep going about our day. I'm glaring. And all of a sudden, Waka Flocka goes, cute dog. And I was like, that's who it is.
That's Waka.
And I just make eye contact with him. We make eye contact. I'm like, yeah, the dog's cute. And he pets the dog. And then we keep walking. And I just turn to my producer. I go, that was Waka Flocka. And that was that. We just left it. Our producer
That's
just
so
looks
funny.
at me. He just laughs, and he's like, yep. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yeah, it was just cool. Like, it's just like.
Totally. No, it's funny to like walk around on the lots. Kind of grew up in my career on the Paramount lot. So like walking around, I would see people from all types of shows the same way. And I had my reactions like that in my head too. And, it's always like an internal freak out kind of sometimes when we see people that we grew up watching or we think is, somebody that we want to emulate doing things like. And, so like if I saw a Steven Spielberg type of person, I'd be like freaking out in my head. But at the same time, we know how to keep it professional.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're in our positions we are, because we know how to communicate with people that are, of a certain status, quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of celebrities. I mean, when I was working on another show, The Doctors, they would have a lot of like celebrity guests that would come on, and I'll never forget. I'm going to tell this funny one because it was just never forget, but I met Abby Lee Miller, and she was so nice, like in a weird way. She was a nice, chill person, but it wasn't like, cause I'm working. I'm there to work, but I was nervous because I'm from Pennsylvania and I grew up watching Dance Moms. So every day I say the same thing to the guests, and I was so nervous that I would say like, okay, and like, and you're going to be doing like, and you'll be doing like, and she goes, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. If you say like, or one more time, we're just gonna have to have a chat. And I was like, okay. I like swallowed everything inside me. I was like, and I just went at it. And then by the end of the day, I was taking her out to her car, and her and I were just having laughs. And I told her I was from Pennsylvania. She's like, I'm really proud of you. You made it out of there. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. I think my life just like had a snippet of a change.
Yeah.
Abby Lee Miller's,
I already know that little 10-year-old in you was like, oh my God,
I was
Abby
like,
Lee's about to go crazy
shit,
on me.
I gotta listen to her. Okay, these little girls in there. Yeah, I got this. It's okay. And then she was gone. So, but no, there's definitely some memorable moments. And I think working in this industry and being surrounded by them, it's like they are normal people. They are just like you. I mean, when I met Abby, she was still in her wheelchair, and I was like really, I think, humbled all of us by that
Totally.
She was like that. And getting to watch her take her first steps on stage in The Doctors, and like they are just normal people. So
Absolutely.
And just like us. So working in this industry, it's a fun time, and I think it's really important to us to never forget, like, they get their personal time, we need our personal time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like some of my job ends up being like catering to some, talent sometimes and catering to other people. But, at the end of the day, we need our time too, just like this, so we can decompress, relax, and, continue to make plans for us to grow in our career. And, it's all at the end of the day for me, it's all, worth it. And I think when I look back on my day at work, even if it was a tough day, I think it was worth it because I'm in a position where I really love, and I couldn't have dreamed to be working in TV for sports or sports TV.
No, yeah, I would never imagine court TV for me. I'm gonna, and I love it. It's fun, but I will get to where I want to be. Court is just one step on this long journey.
Totally, yeah.
So.
And I don't think it's fair for either of us to call what we're doing Endgame.
Oh no! Heck
we've got
no.
way bigger
this
plans.
Is the start game.
This is
the start of the game. You're on the home start thing of Monopoly. We're gonna go around, and I'm gonna get Boardwalk.
Keep pass and go until we get there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one question I would have in terms of moving out together, because I think you guys are in a, I wouldn't say unique, but you guys are in a situation where you guys are both dating and are both in production. Personally, I don't think I could date anyone in production. So just because, like, how the industry is, it's hectic, and sometimes you just end up bringing your work home, and sometimes what you're bringing home just isn't for everybody. So I guess my question is for you guys, do you guys ever bring work home? And if you do, is it like ever stressful? Does it like add like a little bit of, I don't know, I don't want to say tension, but like,
No, it's fair to say that's a
Yeah,
fair question.
it's a very fair question.
Do you want to answer it?
Yeah, I can definitely answer it. I think so. One big thing is I have a rule because we live with someone who works on another show that I worked on before. So one of the rules is you leave work at work and home is home. We do check in to make sure that there are times when, like, you know, if I could just tell or we just want to check in. If there's something fun that's really happened, we obviously tell each other about it. If there's something that is really shitty, we're obviously telling each other about it. But there's times where, like, I work from home and, like, I'll be doing work while we're watching TV and I'm like, okay, I got to focus on this. And, like, not to say it's, like, not tension, but it is, like, we have this, like, focus mode when we're working.
Yeah, we do.
And, like, it's kind of like, that's why it's so important to leave it at work, because it's like horse shudders. It's like, okay, all I see is work. And you're like another coworker right now.
Yeah.
And it's not even to take offense. Like, I understand, I get it. I mean, definitely in the moment we're just like, well, I just need to get this done, or this is but we have a focus mindset, and it is probably the Virgo in both of us,
For sure.
where we're just like, okay, this has to get done, I have to do it now, or we get frustrated at work, so the frustration at work will then be, and it's not taken out on, but we'll like say it, or the words will come out because you're frustrated. So then it's like you only know in that moment to be frustrated, and you're like, okay, well, I can't switch it off because I'm in work mode.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, but I also wouldn't want to date someone. Before we even started dating, I was looking for someone who was in the industry. As weird as that is, like, I wanted someone who understood what I had to go through.
And I kind of was too, because at the time when we started dating, the job that I was in, I was truly working 12-hour days, 5 days a week. So I knew that I needed to date somebody that understood, and we were like at the same TV, we worked at the same TV show previously. So you truly understood exactly what I was going through on a day-to-day basis. So it made it easy for us to, be able to like share things, or for me to be able to share things about a crazy day that I had, knowing that, for me, and it's harder for me specifically to just like switch off my mood.
But it was also you were working from home a lot too in the beginning.
Too.
So there was a point where you were working from home, and I would not, if I was just hanging with you, you were still working.
Right.
So I would see the stress constantly, and it was like I knew there wasn't anything I could do about it because it was work stress, and like it's at home. So it's like you're doing work at home, it's going to be stressed, and it's like it's going to carry with you until it's just like you're done with it.
Yeah, and it's not, and I mean, like I said, it's not easy for me to just like kind of switch out of it. It's like, it takes me a while, especially if it's something looming or stressful. I'd be holding on to it.
But you also have shoots. Like for me, what I do, it's like, usually what I used to do is more day to day. Now it's more built up over time. But it's like a shoot that has to happen
like
in 2 days, and you have one thing that's failing at it, or one person that dropped out, or one place won't let you do this, you need to do this, that.
Yep,
so
and then I'm off for the weekend for 2 days. So it's like 2 days where I'm like, dang.
This is sitting in the back of my head.
Exactly, and it's like I wish that I had those 2 days to help for something that's going to be happening on Monday. But, it's kind of just the game we play in production. Luckily I have a great team behind me. So like, if I have to pass things off, I can, but it's still, we're so dedicated to what we do that it sticks in my brain sometimes.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I definitely feel that.
All right, so for this like next question, Marcus, you kind of like talked about it like with your boys and whatnot, and I guess this kind of ties in not just to friends but to family as well. How do you deal with balancing work and life? I mean, we hear a lot about having a work-life balance, but in production, the work feels like it doesn't stop. You're working 12-hour days, sometimes six-day work weeks, and it's hard to make time for whether it's the boys or whether it's your girlfriends or it's family. How do you make time for those people, and how would you explain to them, like, when I can't make the time, like, it just can't happen? Because a lot of, like, I don't want to say this is like some elitist like term that all of us in the industry have. So how do you explain to like the normal civilian, hey, I can't make it, I'm at work, or this is like my life now. This is production. I can't just, hang out Saturday night because, I just came off like a 12 on Friday.
No, yeah, I actually have so many friends, and I think you probably have a lot of friends too that have actually dealt with the same stuff. A lot of the people that in the industry, I have a friend who's a writer, and all he wants to do is write. Like he's so dedicated to writing and finding what it is that it's gonna, what's gonna blow up for him. And I haven't seen him in a while. It's been a while, but I know already the reason why he's not hitting me up, the reason why I'm not hitting him up, because we're busy just trying to do our thing. And so I do have a good amount of friends that understand it, but then my friends, like you said, the normal civilians, they they don't work the same hours as we do. A lot of people are still working like strictly remote, which is very cool. I mean, I did it for a period of time. I couldn't do it any longer. I love being in the office, being in the field, being on shoots, but no, it's tough for them to understand in a sense of, once work's over for them, they just are free and do whatever they got to do. For me, work's over for me, but it's still something that's looming. It's not just after the day's done, the next day is completely different. It's just going to be picked back up where I left off, things that I haven't finished. And so, yeah, like my family understands pretty well. They've always been so supportive about the stuff that I do, and my long schedules, traveling. They are so excited anytime I have something big coming up. Yeah, and I just have to make the best use of my time that I do have, the little time I do. I try to make dinner nightly for us. I think that's something I love cooking, and I think it helps me helps us bond together even more closely every day. Just being able to sit down and eat dinner, even if we don't have much time before or after dinner to hang out and decompress. We still get at least that time to sit and eat dinner, and whether we talk about our day, watch movies, whatever it may be. That's how we make use of it, and that's kind of how I can try to balance my work and life at the same time.
I think it was really nice that we had Justin here with us to ask us some questions today. He works with Voidwalker Creative, who has been helping us put this amazing podcast together. So we want to give a special shout out and thank you to Justin and Voidwalker Creative. I know he's been a really big help to the both of us, and watching and helping us see this podcast flourish.
Yes, thank you, Justin. Thank you, Voidwalker Creative, and thank you, viewers. We're so excited to continue doing episodes like this, and just having genuine conversations together. It's been really fun for us, and we're so excited to keep going. So please continue to do the important stuff of like, comment, and subscribing, and join us on the next episode of Making It with Marcus and Marianna. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Marianna. Thank you, guys.